Coach Mote, let's start off with just how you came to Harding. What brought you to Harding University in 1959?
Well, in 1959, my high school coach was an Oklahoma University great, Dub Wooten, and he actually was the man that Carl Allison took his place when he graduated, and Dub Wooten went to high school. Well, Carl Allison was the next All-American there at Oklahoma University. And so there was a connection there that my high school coach and Coach Allison being here trying to get the program started along with the other people, Dr. Gaines and Pinky Berryhill and Joseph Pryor, all those people really had a hand, and more than that, but had a hand in that. But the Church of Christ draw was important to me, and wanting to coach later, I thought wherever I could get somebody to let me want to play, well, that's where I wanted to go. So Coach Allison, with the contact there, they talked, and so I came to Harding University, and folks dropped me off right there in the parking lot in 1959. That sight unseen. Didn't know anything about Harding at all, except that later at the Church of Christ School. So that was the tie that actually got me to here. The church connection plus Allison and Wooten, Oklahoma University connection. So, and has been a blessing to me in every way.
Talk about in 1959 coming from Texas. I mean, that had to feel like was a little bit farther from home than it probably would now with kids coming in.
Well, that's true, but I actually went to New Mexico that summer to work so I could afford to come, because scholarships were not. They had grants and things, but not really, maybe 4 or 5 scholarships, but not like it is today. And so I wasn't enticed with the scholarship. I just wanted to play. And which everybody that showed up, or the majority of that bunch, was that way. And I think that's what made such a close-knit group. You know, Lathan Garnett here, a guy that's works tirelessly with our booster program. There's just a lot of people just walked on because they wanted to play, and they had a chance to play because they didn't turn anybody away, because at a late date they didn't even have a schedule made out. They took whoever they could get from 59. We had 6 games, and one of those games was Delta State, which was ranked 3rd in the nation that year. So there's quite a story with that with Delta State. Coach Carlson was trying to get everybody not to be discouraged, after playing somebody like this, and he actually said, just go out there and have fun. And one of the guys that come back here, Billy Joe Thrasher, who was our captain with Gem City that year, I played right behind him at halfback. I lined up behind him. He's right guard. And about the middle of the second quarter, maybe the first quarter, he turned around and said, "Mote, you having any fun?" Of course, I run up in that line. I had somebody waiting on me before I got to the ball, and I was trying to be upbeat. I said, "Well, yeah." He said, "Well, come up here and change places with me. This guy up here tried to kill me." And so it went from that. We just tried to survive, and I think it made a close-knit group that we wasn't there for the glory or honor. We just wanted to play, and I think we had people that with character and the people that are really great boosters now, a part of that team. Cliff Sharp and all those, Jim City, Steve Smith. It just goes on and on of the people that are, some of them are still in this area, and but that was our beginning, and we went from 1-5. We beat Arkansas State freshmen, and the story behind that is they gave me the ball on the X point. We didn't kick the X point. We didn't have kickers or snappers. We had them, but we wasn't very good, so we ran it. Ran it behind our best lineman, Larry Lambert, dove, and I was not across the line when the whistle blew, but by the time the officials got all them big guys off of me, I was over the line. We beat them 7-6 in the Arkansas State freshman. So that was the only game we won, 1-5. And then we did progress to 6-3 our senior year, and only got beat by 1 touchdown by Tech, and I think Henderson was the other one that beat us there, but UCA, who was in there, and they gave us a pretty good whipping, 24-0. But 6-3, that was a start. And always being indebted to Carl Allison and the patience he had, and he was the right man for the right time to start the program. I think he was here 6 years, and then he immediately wanted to get John Brock, who they had coached together, good friends in Clinton, Oklahoma. Got John Brock here, and we all know the long tenure, successful tenure, great man that he was, and he had a tremendous influence on my life. And one quick story about Coach Brock. This is when later, after he'd been here a couple, 3 years, Coach Brock was tough, hard-nosed. He was trying to get his linebackers to, when the guard blocked down on the nose guard, the linebacker steps up in the hole. And without the linebacker wasn't doing it. So he, without any pads or anything, he jumped down there. He said, full speed, I want to show him how to read this and get there. Well, the guard blocked, Steve Smith and I, best of friends, looked at each other, didn't even say anything. When they blocked down, Steve and I hit Coach Brock, and the first thing hit him was the back of his shoulders. And that was quite a deal, because I don't know whether he was expecting or not, or nobody was, but it all worked out. It didn't hurt Coach Brock, but I don't think he was anticipating us giving our best shot. That's probably the best block we got all year. But that was the tough times we went through trying to get the program established, and they did a great job of getting respect, and we won a conference championship a time or two in there, but not as a player, but as I came back in 65 or 66, and when Coach Allison left, Coach Brock asked me to come back to be on the staff, and I was on the staff for 17 years, and it was a great time, and it was a tough time, and we was underdogs, but everybody, we built respect for the program. They really kind of hated to play Harding because we wasn't going to, Miracle was predicted to win, but they knew they was going to be in the battle. So, and then we carry on to what's got today, all the coaches that have contributed, well, not just coaches, but players. The recruiting is different, and we're getting a quality of athletes now that, wouldn't even probably talk to us back in that day and time. So that is kind of a gamut from 1959 through the years that I played, and we did everything. I mean, you was asking me earlier, we played offense, defense, kicking game, return kicks. I mean, when you got through the defense, you just switched over to offense or whatever you're supposed to do, because we didn't have enough people to play. And I think it was a great teaching thing that worked out, and it kind of drew us together. You put your back to the wall, you're trying to survive, and I think that has carried over. We've talked about that in the past. I think being the underdog for a lot of the years and scratching for respectability and a place in the minds of people that we had a good program, I think that was a nucleus that started and carried over, and boy, it is enormous now. I think the players that like Coach Huckabee and Coach Simmons, those people that have played here, Coach Mote, all those guys, that has, they remember that little niche, and I think that's an ingredient that they've taken it to a much higher level. I mean, us working together in the booth, I have a tendency to get a little excited when we're very successful, but I'm not guilty of the one screaming like a girl when we scored that touchdown up there at Dakota, but I got that straightened out. That was you, that was not me.
That's your story.
That's my story.
I want you to go back to 59, okay? And tell me about traveling. I know that had to be a little bit more difficult than it is these days, but I know there's one particular story going to Delta State and playing in 1959, and maybe got on the wrong street. Well,
we're not going to talk about getting on the wrong street. We couldn't even get to the stadium. But our bus driver, they didn't give him instruction. We didn't have GPS thing. So, but anyway, the biggest thing about Delta State, there I said they were ranked number 3 in the nation, and we just got them for homecoming, and they hadn't been scored on, and they were outstanding. And the story about that is Coach Dick Johnson, who coached here for years, baseball, outstanding job, great friend of mine, and he and I think a guy named Smiley Knack went to scout Delta State. And when they came back, Coach Allison asked them, now this is before Coach Brock or anybody else here, this is the first year. And Coach Brock asked him, well, Coach Johnson, what do you think? What should we do? And Dick Johnson did not crack a smile. He says, don't go. He said, the coaches, those people have got guys that have been playing in the military, and they annihilated somebody that was ranked. And so that was the story about that. And then the next thing, we got on the field, and that's where we, of all things, run an 80-yard screen pass to Tinsley, scored a touchdown, and evidently we made them mad because they beat us 60-7, and it could have been worse. And we thought for a time they was trying to make it worse because we ruined that national stat that they had not been scored on. So there wasn't a whole lot of highlights in the '59 season other than survival and a close-knit bond between the players, and I think that is kind of a foundation there that we all look back to and take pride in.
And I was with you the last time the Bisons played at Delta State in the old Gulf South Conference. Last time that we went down there and Harding won. That meant a lot to you, didn't it? Because of that '59 game.
I can tell you, that doesn't mean anything to anybody unless you remember that, and Dr. Gaines. And it doesn't mean anything to anybody except how a measuring stick, how far we had come from nothing to being competitive. And then we've had some good football teams. And then, so that was I think a major step. And we've had a lot of good football players that come through here, good people, and they stay in touch. They stay in contact. And I think that Harding connection is a strong bond. It's stronger today than I think it's ever been.
What does it mean to you? A couple of things. You're a captain 3 of the 4 years you played, and then to get to play with your younger brother, Gail Mote, and then who obviously played with you your senior year, and then your nephew, Roddy Mote, who now coaches here and played at Harding. It's a family tradition.
A lot of connections there. I can't describe really. You know, when you get elected captain 3 out of 4 years, things are expected out of you. I'm not sure. I know I didn't meet the expectations of everybody, but it's a real honor. I served with Jim City, which he's a team doctor, but for you, a tremendous man. I mean, a good football player. He's a good athlete, and served him when I was a sophomore with Walt Mays, another guy that was all conference, really outstanding man here, junior year, and then Steve Smith, who everybody knows, teaching here at Harding and all-around athlete, basketball, baseball, football. I told him, he was best friend, I said, you made a good decision not playing that first year because we was out there trying to survive. He had a shoulder knockdown and he had visions of playing pro ball. So the good decision he made was not come out freshman year. So, but anyway, that's kind of the way the situation fell in place. And it is important. We don't have a lot of records and things of that nature. Effort, being able to survive in situations that are really your underdog nearly every time you went out there. So it had pluses that you can't measure, and been a great part of my life.
Playing days, what do you remember from that? I mean, your most memorable moment or moments that maybe occurred on the field for Jerry Mote?
Well, there wasn't a lot of those because, like I said, we were outmanned at every position every time we played. But there was some games there that had over 100 yards rushing, and I could do a little bit of everything okay, but nothing real great. I mean, I returned kickoffs, returned punts, I caught passes, I threw passes on a halfback sweep, and so the things, anytime we were actually just trying to play defense to stay close enough to be respectable. And because when we get to playing offense, we just switch over and play defense. So as far as there's not a lot of stats that you can, and I know Scott Good enjoy it. We get a big picking out on this, but for 4 out of the years that I was here, I led in all-purpose yard, not rushing or because all these guys make more yards in one game than I made in the whole season. But the fact is that back then everybody did whatever you could do, and so I got to do all of it. And it's just really a part of being a group of men that really wanted to get the program started just to earn respect. Really, I don't think victory was the thing that drove us, although we all wanted to win. We're all competitors, and it hurt bad when you were not representing each other in school well, but I think bottom line, you had to be able to do a little bit of all of it, and if you could, you ended up, I was at cornerback. Of course, they didn't throw deep passes in, thank goodness, but just run up there and tackle them, so I could do that. But
you had a 99-yard fumble recovery for a touchdown. That's still a school record today.
And I can't get Scott to put that in the record book. We were actually on the verge of losing the only game we won against Ozarks that freshman year. And I was playing corner. We all bunched in there because everybody played dead T, 2 tight end. And I saw the option coming. And when he come down the line, he turned the pitch. I reached out and I slapped the pitch down, and that ball bounced right up. He's on the 1 yard line, less than that really, but 1 yard, 1 yard line. Slapped it down, that ball bounced right up in my hand, and I had a 30-yard head start before anybody knew it, thank goodness, because my roommate, Larry Lambert, my big tackle, he run along the side of me, want me to lateral it to him. No, we just talk about that. But anyway, that was 99 yards, and that was a touchdown. So that is a highlight there that I can't get Scott to really admit or find it in the records, but it's there.
One last thing.
Okay.
When the scoreboard was dedicated, the brand new scoreboard at the stadium, and on the back, the 1959 team is pictured there. I know that was a big moment. That meant a lot to you and that team, didn't it?
I tell you what, you're not supposed to cry and show emotion, I guess, if you're a man, but I think that's kind of a farce. But I think there's some key people that made that happen that were a part of that, and it just warms your heart to know you're with that quality character, work hard ethic people that still love each other and respect each other, and it just made a difference in my life, and a positive difference. It's a proud moment in my life.
I said one more thing. You spent many years after your coaching days, playing days, in a radio booth. You saw in 2016 the best season in Bison football history, to go that far in the national playoffs. What did that mean to you? Well,
to me, it shows is a measuring stick. You know, and you can't appreciate this unless you were part of the 59 team and what we went through, the struggle, and then to be able to witness the quality of play that the Bisons did this past year and win 13-1 and have a chance to go even beyond that. There's no way to really tell people what a large gap, that how many people were so important and involved in reaching that point. And I was fortunate to be as a player and as a coach and a radio announcer, and to see all this evolve. And I don't think there are very many people that have been blessed to have those opportunities in all those categories, but there's been a lot of people important to the program. But Billy, you know, in the years that I've enjoyed working with you, that meant something to me. Every step we took, that was a milestone. And to see Coach Huckabee and his players rise up and meet the challenge, and that pays dividends to reaching out to other quality athletes that come here and see that no longer is this just an intramural team. This is the team that competes, and I think we'll compete this year. May or may not be as dominant, but I think every year we will be considered a worthy opponent and compete. And I'm very proud to be a part of this group.